Roundabouts and Firewood: A Mental Health Approach for Irish Guys by Scott Ziglinski. To J.L. Introduction. There he was, taking vodka shots with the woman who had tried to teach him the Gaelic language. Her inability to help my son improve was not her fault. Like many other young men in Ireland, Cian was certain he would pass his Irish exam for the simple reason that many others before him, who could barely speak the native language they were first introduced to as junior infants, had passed the exam and found their way into university. At that moment, it didn't matter. A few hours had gone by since he had walked up on stage to be congratulated by the head of the school for completing 6th year. Now, as tradition demanded, he was at a pub, and when vodka shots were suggested, Cian and his former Irish teacher stepped up to the bar. It was May of 2022, and due to the economic impact of COVID, I was in America working most of the time, while my son learned how to live on his own at our apartment in Kimmage. On that particular day, I had just finished an engineering lesson with a group of 12-year-olds when I saw that Cian had sent me a video clip on WhatsApp. Watching him and his teacher drinking in celebration, getting drunk in celebration, doing all that was necessary to ensure the appropriate hangover in celebration, no father could have been prouder of his son. Ireland, what a country. It was a few weeks after this event that I received a call from Cian with what was becoming all too common news: another suicide of an Irish male. This young man, 18 years of age, lived down the road from our apartment. 5 months earlier, another 18-year-old from our neighborhood had chosen to take his life. A year later, as Cian was completing his first year at UCD, someone from his wide circle of friends hung himself. The Irish males committing suicide are just a small fraction of the Irish male population who are experiencing mental health problems. Most guys just suffer and get on with it. They don't take their lives, but they do carry an unnecessary load. I'm certain we can do better. We, meaning Irish guys. I'll define an Irish guy as any male who grows up in Ireland and goes through the Irish school system, secondary or earlier, gets drunk, and has a spice bag. I'm not Irish, so I must ask for an exemption to be part of the club. I'm American, and this fact demands 2 questions to be answered. 1, why bother to try and help Irish males with their mental health issues? 2, what are my credentials for giving Irish lads advice since I am not Irish? Number 1, Ireland became home. I resisted it initially, learned to cope with it, and then it grew on me to the point that the States became the foreign land. Raising my son there means all fatherhood memories of Cian's childhood, barring the 4 weeks in the States every summer, are set in Ireland. Strangely enough, culturally it makes sense to me, even the parts, and there are many, I don't understand. Had the economic fallout of COVID not forced me to move after 16 years on the island, 9.5 in Kerry and 6.5 in Dublin, I'd still be there now. Someday I will move back. For now, I have to be content with my 3 or 4 visits a year and my frequent WhatsApp interactions with my Irish friends. Number 2, if you are suspicious of an American offering a game plan for Irish males, I not only accept that, I would argue your case for you. So, I feel compelled to give you some credentials to demonstrate that while I'm not Irish, I have some level of understanding about the culture that you were brought up in, and it is this understanding that allows me to make suggestions. Here are my 9 points of Irish credibility. 1, I have been married twice, both times to Irish women, one Dublin-born and the other Kildare-born. 2, I have divorced 2 Irish women. 3, I have been to Irish courts negotiating the custody of my child, No male, regardless of national origin, wants to go to an Irish court to negotiate custody rights and all things related. Note, I kept it at 50% access, but the fact that a father who was the stay-at-home dad the first 2 years of my son's life and worked part-time until he was ready for primary school, and who picked him up from school every day, and who raised him equally, if not more, yeah, you get my resentment towards the Irish courts telling me I have access. Access, I ask? It's my fucking child. 4. I lived in Ireland from 2006 to 2021. During this time, I worked with primary schools all over the country, at schools as small as 9 students in Kerry to large schools in Dublin and Cork. This gave me insight how boys were raised, spoken to, and acculturated. 5. I raised my American-born son in Ireland from the age of 2. Consequently, he picked up a Crumlin accent and now I can't understand him. 6. I lived through COVID with my Irish brethren. When we were isolated, the gyms were closed, and we were informed we could not go more than 5 kilometers from home. Or, to put it another way, the time when many guys were left with little to do and mental health deteriorated. 7. I was introduced to GAA in Kerry. 8. Since 2006, I've been schooled on Irishmen by Irishmen, meaning explanation after explanation about why things are as they are. I asked questions. I was puzzled. I asked more questions. I was less puzzled. Then, at some point, my perspective through my American lens was permanently altered. 9. My son, at the age of 14, during an argument, called me a stupid American cunt. At the age of 15, he did it again. But at 16, it was just a stupid cunt. It was then that I knew I had graduated to higher ranks. Call to arms. Definition 1. A demand for a group of people to fight against an enemy. Definition 2. Something that asks or encourages a group of people to take action against something. This book is a call to arms. Irish lads are suffering, so Irish lads should do something about it, something that works for them. The goal of this book is to sketch out a plan that resonates with Irish guys. I have divided the book into 4 parts. The first is a quick overview of the mental health issues I've battled with and how I communicated them to my son. If nothing else, I hope you'll be amused, chuckle, and even laugh at the things I did while fiction ruled my thoughts. Also, it's a cautionary tale of sorts. Here you have an example of what you don't want to become. Believe me, if you can avoid that, your life will be a lot better. In the second part, I provide a basic approach and make the argument why Irish guys are uniquely suited to do battle with anxiety and depression. In part 3, I explain what tools are essential for taking on what I refer to as the A&D, anxiety and depression monster. Finally, the 4th section is my account of something that sent me spiraling down during COVID and how I responded with the support of my friends. While this book is short and intended to amuse as well as educate, the message can be reduced to 6 letters. F-I-B-I-F-Y. F-biffy. If you're impatient, skip to chapter 23.